It was a Saturday night in Forest Park, Georgia, a young woman out with friends, the music loud, the energy high. On the surface, it was another carefree night. The young woman danced in the street, but within moments, laughter turned to instant sorrow for the family of 22-year-old Amiya Cunningham, who ended the night lying on the pavement, struck by a moving car. April 26, 2025, just before midnight, officers from the Forest Park Police Department responded to a 911 call. A pedestrian had been hit at the intersection of Forest Parkway and Frontage Road. By the time they arrived, first responders from the Clayton County Sheriff's Office were already on the scene, attempting to save her life. Amiya was rushed to Grady Memorial Hospital in Atlanta, but despite efforts of medical staff, the 22-year-old tragically succumbed to her injuries. Days later, a disturbing video began circulating online. It shows a young woman bent over in the street in front of a vehicle that was just steps away. The moment is brief, but you can see the woman dancing within the glow of headlights, positioned directly in front of a black vehicle stopped at a red light. Then in an instant, the car accelerates and she's hit. When Forest Park police arrived at the scene that night, they spoke with two women, a driver and her passenger who witnessed the incident. Both provided statements describing what they saw. Based on their accounts and initial evidence, police ruled out malice, foul play, or negligence by the driver. The incident seemed to be reported as a random pedestrian walking in the middle of the street who was tragically struck by a car. The identity of that pedestrian later confirmed by family as 22-year-old Amiya Cunningham. Amiya was hit by a driver who failed to stop and drove away from the scene, just left her there. As Amiya's family mourned her sudden and tragic death, more details began to surface, revealing a far more disturbing truth. The driver who struck Amiya was not a stranger passing through the night. It was someone she knew, someone she spent her final hours with. That night, Amiya had plans to go clubbing with a group of friends. Before heading to the venue, the group gathered to pregame at a mutual location. Amiya, full of energy, was dancing and hyping everybody up. Apparently, friction developed between Amiya and another woman in the group. That woman's name? Alex. Eventually, the group split into three separate vehicles. The first was driven by T, one of Amiya's close male friends, who was riding with another male. The second vehicle, a black car, was driven by Alex, who was alone. Amiya chose to ride in the third vehicle, driven by Deja, her Trinidadian neighbor and friend that she's known since she was 12 years old. Another woman, Mickey, was also in that car with Deja and Amiya. The six friends, 2 men and 4 women, headed out in those 3 cars, intending to spend the night partying. But on the way, things began to unravel. While traveling on the interstate, T, who was in the first car, he missed the exit. That left only 2 vehicles, the black one driven by Alex, and the car carrying Deja, Mickey, and Amiya. While she was in the car with Deja and Mickey, Amiya sent a text to her friend T. In it, she told him the vibe was off in the car with the girls, and she regretted not riding with him instead. Then, as captured on surveillance, Amiya jumped out the car she was riding in and began dancing in the street, directly in front of Alex's black vehicle, which was stopped at the red light. What happened next was devastating. The car, driven by Alex, suddenly accelerated. Amiya was not only struck, but dragged across the intersection. And then there was that moment that's puzzled the internet. Alex kept driving. 2 hours later, Alex returned to the scene in the same vehicle. That's when police discovered she had issues with her license and/or registration, and her vehicle was impounded. Despite the horrific nature of the incident, police didn't accuse Alex of acting with malice. Initial reports seemed to describe the situation as a random accident involving a pedestrian in the street. But once Amiya's family began asking questions, they realized the story didn't add up. This wasn't random. The person who hit Amiya was indeed part of her social circle that night, and not just a random unknown driver. She was a woman with whom Amiya reportedly had conflict just hours before the fatal incident. What began as a night among friends and what was initially described as a tragic accident involving a pedestrian has since unraveled into something far more sinister. The truth that's coming to light suggests that this was no random act. In her last hours, Amiya was surrounded by a bunch of evil, jealous women who saw her as the life of the party that night and wanted to snuff the life out of her. Remember, the woman behind the wheel of that vehicle that hit Amiya wasn't a stranger. It was Alex, someone Amiya had tension with earlier that night. So in that critical moment with Amiya dancing in the street, Alex is celebrated, and then she just drove away, left the scene. If it was indeed an accident, Alex would have stopped. A person acting out of panic might have called for help, but Alex didn't. She left the scene and returned 2 hours later, only after it set in that her car was already linked to the incident. Worse still, those who were with Amiya, including Deja, a friend she had known since middle school, and the other woman, Mickey, they didn't tell the truth to police. Instead of standing up for Amiya, they gave statements that downplayed what happened and basically outright lied to police. There are even reports that one of the girls in the car with Amiya is related to Alex. And since they went to such great heights to hide the true story, I wouldn't be surprised if it was a setup. Was Amiya encouraged to get out of the car and dance in front of Alex's vehicle by Deja and Mickey? Was it all just a coincidence? Or was it something more coordinated? Was Amiya set up? There may never be clear answers about who said what and who did what that night, but one thing is certain, Alex was the one who hit Amiya, dragged her, and left her in the street. And that's no mistake. That was an intentional choice.
And for them haters that ran Maya over and kept fucking moving, you just was some motherfucking haters. You gonna get every fucking thing y'all motherfucking deserve. Y'all was some hating bitches. Like, if y'all didn't want to fuck with her, y'all should have just stopped being with her. And this is why I don't fucking have female friends, because the fucking jealousy be so deep and so real. Y'all get together and plot together, and then stupid like this happen. What did that girl do to y'all to make y'all want to unalive her so badly? Y'all some hating. Y'all some hating shits. And then y'all got all y'all accounts on motherfucking private. Y'all deactivating Facebook, X, and all that. Guess what, baby? God sit high and he looks low. And guess what? Everybody's gonna have their judgment day. Who are you guys to run somebody over?
And to act like you ain't see her in front of the car dancing is wild. I don't know if y'all seen it or not, but I can't put it on my page because I know they'll take it down. It's a video going around of a girl dancing in front of the car, and then these friends just get in the car and drive off. And they trying to say like, oh, we didn't see her, it was an accident. And it's just like, how? Even if she was getting out to get something, how y'all didn't, like, how do you not look around and realize a person that was just in the car is not with you? Like, listen, these friend groups are getting so weird nowadays. It needs to be studied. When you realize the people closest to you be the ones that hurt you, it make you want to fall back. The fact that these people are out walking around free, I don't like it. Like, the fact that she had just texted her friend and said, I should have went with you, let me know that once she got there, her energy was off. Her spirit was off. She knew for a fact she was in the wrong place. I have learned to follow my first mind. I have learned to follow my heart. I have learned if my mind say, go, get from round, whatever, I don't even question it no more. Like, follow your first mind. Follow your discernment. People be jealous, envious, and haters.
As I look deeper into the tragic death of Amiya Cunningham, I couldn't help but think of Shanquella Robinson, another young woman who lost her life while surrounded by people who claimed to be her friends. The disturbing similarities are hard to ignore. What both stories painfully highlight is this: everybody smiling in your face isn't your friend. And sometimes, being around jealous, envious, or hateful people can lead to your own demise. And then you have the decision that Amiya made that night. Her decision to get out of the car and dance in the street, specifically in front of a vehicle driven by someone she had tension with. And that decision is also now at the center of this heartbreaking case. It definitely complicates the narrative, especially because the only people who truly know what happened are Amiya and the 3 women she was with that night, women who by several accounts obviously didn't care too much for her. Now Amiya is gone, and only those 3 women remain to tell the story. Without outside witnesses, it becomes their word alone, and that raises serious concerns. Alex, a driver, is claiming it was an accident. There was no one else in the car with her to contradict her. Meanwhile, Deja and Mickey, the 2 women who are with Amiya, are already being accused of lying to police and covering for Alex. To every young woman out there, remember, most of the people you think are your friends probably aren't. Maturing is realizing that if you're hanging out with 6 friends, there's no way that all 6 friends are really your friends. I mean, let's be real. There's no such thing as having 6 real friends anyway. But you don't need a big circle, you need a trustworthy one. Protect your peace, protect your energy, protect your life. Gone are the days of the buddy system where everyone looked out for each other. I'm my sister's keeper used to mean something. But too often today, we see young women surrounded by people who don't care for them at all. People who would rather compete with them than support them. And you have to look out for yourself. Don't put yourself in dangerous situations. The sad truth is, Amiya would still be alive if she didn't hop out that car to twerk. It might sound like something fun to do, you know, the Glorilla lyrics, talking about twerking on headlights. But it's very dangerous, and Amiya's story is a heartbreaking reminder of just how dangerous that can be. Remember, you have to make common sense decisions for yourself. Don't let the Jezebel spirit take over you, allowing more evil to creep in. Let's go ahead and get the conversation started. Tell me what you think about this below. Special thank you to Edmund. I appreciate you, Edmund, for all of your support for the channel, as well as Elmer. You can show your support as well. The link to PayPal is below. Ladies, fellas, want a balance analysis, want the truth from a woman's perspective? Then you're going to want to subscribe to this channel, and don't forget to like and share.